everybody, Austin here again with another Let's Play walkthrough. Today it's going to be Kabuki Quantum Fighter for the NES. This is a side-scrolling action game in the vein of games like Batman the video game or Ninja Gaiden. And yeah, it's actually a little bit of a hybrid of those two games in particular. There are a lot of elements that are kind of shared between the two games, and this also brings some of its own mechanics and elements to the table as well. So yeah, I've actually just recently learned this one for the first time. I knew of this game a long time ago. It was featured inside Nintendo Power, which I subscribed to growing up, but I never really got to play this game until adulthood, and for some reason it just never really clicked with me. A couple of viewers out there, though, wanted to see it get the Let's Play treatment, and so I decided to fire it up earlier this week. And after a couple of hour session, I managed to beat the game for the first time, and then I subsequently went back and did it again and again and again. I've since now beaten the game like 7 or 8 times. I feel like I have a consistent enough route through the game that I can give the Let's Play treatment, and I can show you guys through the game, talk about tips and strategies that I've formulated, and I can talk about you know, my route through the game, and talk about the various boss fights and situations you might find yourself in. So if you're trying to learn this game for the first time, or you're trying to revisit it after a long hiatus, maybe, you know, watching this playthrough and seeing what I do will help you get through the game a little bit easier. So what we're going to do here is actually just hit start and just jump right into it. Now what's funny about the title screen here is you can actually hit any button on the face of the controller to start. I just hit left on the D-pad and it just jumped me right into the game. So let's go ahead and hit start here. The story's honestly, conceptually it's kind of interesting, but the execution I think is just extremely bland and boring. So we're just going to skip through all the story sequences and whatnot. So a little stage intro right here, and then we just jump right into our first level. So Kabuki Quantum Fighter, you know, you have a character, you just move left or right. You can press A to jump. What's interesting about jumping in this game is you do have variable jump height. So this is sort of a light jump. You just tap A very lightly, and then you have a full jump. You know, you just hold down the button, you go a little bit higher. You press B to attack with your hair, and then you can also duck and press attack to punch. I don't really recommend the punch attack. You'll see me use it a couple times over the course of the game, like right here where this guy just stops on sort of an invisible wall. But for the most part, I don't use the ducking punch attack. Your hair is much faster, it's easier to work with, it's got much better range and whatnot. Now you'll notice that I just grabbed onto those bars up there, and you can just fling yourself up by holding down the A button. When you're on those bars, if you just lightly tap A, you'll actually have variable jump height from the bars as well. And that's actually a mandatory mechanic that you'll have to learn later on in the playthrough. Now these red guys, they will just stop and shoot projectiles at you. You know, not every, but a lot of enemies in this game are sort of on timers, like these flame turrets right here. Those guys are on timers. It's basically on, then off, then on, then off. And it basically just requires you to stop and analyze them, just like in Batman the video game. And then, you know, attack them at the right time so you don't take damage. I'm going to jump over here, attack twice, not take damage. Now, if you take the bottom route there, this upper route is actually kind of hard to do because it requires extremely tight timing. You can either do a light baby jump here to not hit your head on those green things, they will actually damage you. Or you can position yourself to where your head actually bumps on the ceiling and you won't take damage from those. So just sit here, jump straight up, attack, jump straight up, and then attack, just like that. A lot of precision required in this game if you want to go through it without taking damage. Now, there are parts in the game I am absolutely going to get hit a lot because I'm either A, not super consistent at those parts, or there's cheap enemy placement. There's a lot of cheap enemy placement in this game, and I'll touch on those situations when we get to them. So this guy, I'm going to try to just jump down and attack. These guys like to just jump over you and attack. Now there's another one over here, and I can actually hit select to use my sub-weapon. is you start with one sub-weapon. It's a short-range projectile, and it actually goes through walls. I think pretty much all of your projectiles in this go through walls. So I can use that to my advantage there, kill that guy from the other side of the wall, and not take any damage. So at the end of every level is a bonus countdown. Your life and chip energy calculates for points. You can hold down the A button to make it go faster, which is nice. And so this is our first boss. He likes to bounce around the screen. And what I like to do, that was bad. I like to use my hair and then just sort of like predict where he's gonna land and then just attack where he's going to land. Then he does this charge up attack where he unleashes fire. And so you just wanna wait for that and then jump and then you can get a few hits in on him. I've already taken a couple hits. It's not really a big deal. One of the nice things about Kabuki Quantum Fighter is that it's very generous with one, health pickups, but also your health bar is just gigantic in this game. It's like one of the biggest health bars I think I've ever seen in a video game of this type. So you could take a lot of hits in this game. There's a lot of room for error, and which makes it a little bit easier to learn than something like Batman or Ninja Gaiden or something like that. Our energy gun's power has been increased. So we actually have just unlocked our second projectile. And so we will probably use that a couple of times over the course of the game. But for the most part, when I play Kabuki Quantum Fighter, I try to, you know, melee attack most of my enemies, because one of the cool things about your chip energy, your sub-weapon energy, it's that blue bar, is that it actually carries over from level to level. So the less energy you use in a level, the more you'll have later on in the game. Alright, so a couple of things here. I want to actually just jump over this guy right here, and then I want to jump over this one as well. So now you'll notice that there are, you know, my character keeps getting pushed to the right when I'm in this flowing water. You need to be looking at animation tiles in this game that you're either in or walking on top of. The direction that they're flowing indicates where your character is going to be pushed automatically. And this game has some interesting physics. When you're being pushed one way, you'll actually jump farther if you jump in that direction, like this. So check this out. It's pretty crazy. It takes a little while to get used to that though, and the game requires you to get used to it. It really does. So I'm gonna go ahead and fling our way up here, and I'm gonna take this bottom route. It's a lot safer. You can try to kill this this thing on the ground here. Nothing too crazy. These guys just kind of like, they're just lumbering. Now, unfortunately, this guy is taking his sweet time, so what I'm gonna do is just wait for him to sort of crawl back around. I'm gonna try to hit him with my hair. A good trick with enemies higher up than you is to attack as you're coming down. Your hair in this game, your main melee attack, actually has, you know, a very precise hitbox on the tip. It's a very small hitbox, and so it's very easy to miss enemies. And so if you attack as you are going down, your hair basically starts up here and it covers this whole area, as opposed to just like a tiny little, you know, spot. So I like to do a little thing here where I intentionally gain momentum, and I just hop across like that, and then I hop across like that. Pretty fun. You know what I actually meant to do is actually look up speedruns for this game. I haven't seen any yet, but I'd imagine with the movement tech in this game, the speedrun could potentially be somewhat interesting. This guy likes to just despawn himself. He comes in and then just goes right off the screen. There's gonna be another one right here, and if I really wanted to, I could just use, well, he despawned as well. I'll take it. I can actually use my projectiles if I want, just to kill these guys. There are some ladders in this game. You can climb up walls, just like Ninja Gaiden 2. And let's drop down and kill that guy. And that other mouth despawned. This one I'm gonna go at. These guys are despawn. Every single one despawn. Normally they don't despawn so easily like that. But good to know. We just learned something. You know, just despawn the little mouths. And actually, it reminds me of Ninja Crusaders, which was an earlier Let's Play I did this year. There are similar enemies that are like chomping at you towards the end of the game. They fly across the screen. Alright, so now this area, I have to actually move pretty quickly because you only have 50 seconds to do this. I can switch over to my projectile for that. And on these first two drops, I want to hold to the right. Otherwise, you land on those blue spikes on the left. So watch out for those blue spikes. The second one right here. Now, there's some really cheap enemy placement here. Like that guy right there, extremely difficult to get past that part without taking damage. And I want to try to drop down and attack and hit that guy. That's also very difficult. If you jump all the way across here, you can get yourself an extra life. Just hug the right-hand side and then jump up and grab that one up. I'm gonna come on over here, kill this dude, and then boss time. Now the stage 2 boss, in my opinion, is probably the hardest boss in the game. His movement can be predictable. He bounces around the screen and does a jump kick. And when he does his jump kick, as you will see, you can duck under it. The problem is he shoots another projectile out, which also shoots at you and it sort of targets you. So I've just paused the game, and if you want to switch weapons, you just have to hit select on the controller and you can cycle through your weapons that you have. I like to use the projectile we earned for this level on this boss. Now you can also hit select you know, during normal gameplay as well, but it is really good to know that you can just pause the game and do it that way. And another interesting trick is if you pause it on boss fights and hit up or down, you can actually convert life energy into weapon energy. And so I just did that, so I can still use my long-range projectile here. Just like that. So I burned some health to get weapon energy to make my life a little bit easier against this guy. Now, you know, do that at your own risk, because this is like one of the most aggressive bosses in the game. Actually, I'd say it is the most aggressive boss in the game, and it's just very, very challenging. And I knew I was going to get some chip energy back. I was going to get some weapon energy back, so I can go ahead and do that. So I just got the fusion gun. The fusion gun is a 3-way spread shot, and we're going to be using that a little bit on this level as well. And a couple times in later stages as well. But again, like I said, I mostly try to kill enemies with my hair, because I can, you know, try to conserve my weapon energy for later parts of the game or boss fights or whatnot. And again, like I said, you want to watch for the tiles that animate. When they're animating like that, they're going to push you in whatever direction they're moving. So they're both conveyor belts there are moving to the left. And now the thing about movement physics in this game, like on conveyor belts or the ice blocks, when you jump, you're pushed forward in the direction that they're pushing you in. So I'm going to use my long-range projectile here to get rid of this turret. And ice physics are also quite interesting. When you land on an ice platform and you move, your character does not stop until you fall off the platform. It's really awkward to get used to. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump up here, and you notice that there are 2 turrets. Well, if I drop back down, I can despawn the one on the top. And I'm gonna just drop in and punch this just to get some health. Now that trick I used in the boss fight, where you pause it and you press up or down on the D-pad to convert your energy, that only works on boss fights. Now, I think there's a cheat code you can enter to where you can do it anywhere in the game, but doing it normally only works on boss fights. I'm gonna go ahead and destroy this turret again. Here we go, there's a heart. Now, I think our health is pretty much maxed out. So again, when you land on ice and you start moving in that direction, you can't turn around. You have to go forward with it. And so you have to jump about halfway off that ice platform to do that without taking damage. And let's try this one. Ooh, I took a hit. Not a big deal. There's a turret right there. We're going to go ahead and just time our jumps to get past it. Now this turret I like to attack. It always drops a heart. And if you jump up to the right, you can actually fling yourself up and grab that heart. Alright, so we're jumping up on these platforms. And so there's actually a nice little safe spot right here. It's not a part of the conveyor belt. So what I do is I follow this spike ball, and I mistimed that completely. And I basically just follow it, then I jump over it when it comes back, and I just completely screwed that up too. There's so much precision required in this game. There's so many things to just mess up when it comes to your movement tech. Alright, so I basically did a little baby jump right there, so I don't touch those orange things. Those do actually hurt me. And what I could do is also use my 3-way shot right here. And I completely borked my energy usage on it, but that's fine. I actually got a little bit back. Let's go ahead and propel ourselves this way. There we go. Got it. Now, it is possible to just fling yourself up and avoid the flyer, but it's really hard to do so without taking a hit. This guy right here, this spike ball, you want to hold to the right and just hold the jump button. Hold it down all the way, and you will avoid that pretty much guaranteed. Do a little another baby jump right there. Jump up here, another baby jump. Don't want to touch that ceiling, you will take damage. Now this spike ball just flies right at you. So much trial and error in this game, trying to learn it. All you need to do is just get up to the same level as it. It'll basically trigger it, and then you have to jump over it just like this. That always puts me on edge because it's so fast. And we're going to jump over this one. And there we go. We're pretty much done with that whole vertical section. Kind of it's one of the most frustrating parts of the game because it requires such precision to get through it without knocking your head against something and taking damage. This boss fight, on the other hand, though, is actually pretty easy. It basically does this red attack where it goes across the screen. It'll either do it high or low. And when it's doing it high, you can actually duck it. And when it's doing it low, you can jump over it. That's high, so you can duck. And then as its health bar gets lower, it actually will start doing its attacks a little bit faster, so you can only get in and just hit it once with your hair. This is one of those bosses I don't use sub-weapons, because it is so easy to just follow the pattern. Now this red attack, where it bounces across the screen, it can do it up to 4 times. And whether it does it 4 times is just completely random. So it went across the screen twice. So that's 2, that's twice again. And I'll basically get in, attack it once, and then move out of the way, otherwise I'll get hit by the green slime. And if you're too slow in your initial attack, you're gonna get hit by the green slime if you move in. So if I take too much time, I'll just basically stop and just wait for the next pattern. And we took 1 hit. It's still not a bad fight, though. I didn't have to convert any life to chip energy, because again, I don't use sub-weapons on that boss. It's a boss I just do completely with my hair. So alright, on to stage 4. And again, skipping the story. We have quantum bombs now. The quantum bombs, it's like a stick of dynamite. It has huge blast radius, which is very good. Go ahead and kill these guys. These guys never drop anything. Those first 2, I meant. Now this guy's gonna spawn in. These jump kicking guys are really irritating to deal with, so sometimes I'll just use a projectile. But again, wait for these red guys, you know. If they're on the screen for too long, they're gonna fire at you. And so just wait for them to fire, jump over the projectile, and then attack them. That one dropped weapon energy. Those blue guys, they just constantly bounce around back and forth. They're actually pretty easy to kill, you just have to wait for them. This guy always drops an extra life. Sometimes the extra life actually slips through the floor. Sometimes it lands on top, it just depends. Now this part is what I was talking about earlier, where you've got little baby jumps you can do when you're on these bars, and you've got variable jump height. So this is my full jump right there. This is sort of a medium-sized jump, and then this is just like the lightest baby jump. Now you have to be able to do a medium jump here, otherwise you take damage and you fall down to the bottom. See, I got it on my first try, that was good. But that was a part, when I was learning this game, I was like, how are you supposed to do that? And then I figured out you've got variable jump height on your, you know, when you're jumping off those bars. So I like to just sit, wait for this guy to come up, and you can attack him. And these guys, I just wait for them to be, you know, in the rightmost position, and I just jump down right next to them. Some of these you can actually despawn as well, like I can despawn that guy, but I chose to just kill him. A couple of guys here that shoot projectiles. These cannot be ducked, you have to jump over them. I have tried ducking many times. It just does not work, even though it looks like it should work. The hit detection in this game is not the best. Some of the hitboxes are really large. And this platform right here is actually kind of interesting. If you jump at its apex, you can, you know, you can just jump straight up. If you are in between, you'll notice that the platform actually drops faster than you fall. A lot of old 8-bit games do that. So you've got to watch out for that. You can't jump from it when, you know, it's fallen. Alright, so we're going to jump across here, and I'm going to actually intentionally switch to my 3-way shot. I'm going to baby jump, baby jump, baby jump, shoot. Just like that. One thing you can actually do on these is press B and kick, but the kick takes a long time to come out, so it's very difficult to kick that enemy without taking damage. And I'm going to go ahead and switch over again because those orange guys that jump kick me are really irritating. Jump in, just kill that guy real fast. Kill the mouth. We're just going to jump over here. And then these enemies generally give you health back. So he drops a heart, and I've already got a full health bar. So what I'm going to end up doing here is actually, you know, probably converting weapon energy for the very beginning of the fight. Now, what's interesting about this part is you have a high exit and a low exit. Doesn't matter which one you take. They both do the exact same thing. It's kind of interesting. I think it's the only part of the game where you get multiple exits like that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and switch our weapon energy over. And hit select to go over to my dynamite. And I want to take out the little mini turrets. They usually take about 2 of these sticks of dynamite. And now what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to convert more weapon energy over. And switch off. And I'm going to do the rest of the boss with just my hair. Now what you have to do is trigger his projectile here. He basically opens up his turret. And then he'll shoot directly down at you. The timing is kind of strict to dodge it. And funny enough, there's no sound cue. So it's a little awkward. But he bounces around like this, and then you can hit him a few times. You just go to one side of the screen, then the other. Kind of like this. And then he's going to go vertically. You can hit him a couple times as he goes up. But when he's bouncing around at his 45-degree angle, you cannot attack him. It doesn't do any damage. Alright, there we go. Now he's going to bounce around, just like that. He's going to land, attack him a few times, and then jump over. I do like how bosses blink when you attack them. It's always a good effect. Now this game has some corners cut with its production values. Like, again, that guy shoots, there's no sound cue or anything. Which is a little weird. Which is kind of surprising, because a lot of the game feels fairly well made for 1990. But there are other aspects of it that just feel kind of lazy. It's just interesting to me. In terms of polish and whatnot. So again, we're just waiting. I have plenty of time too. We still have 200 seconds to do this. So, you know, I'm not rushing. Especially after converting my weapon energy over. And if I really wanted to, I could, you know, switch to one of my projectiles. But again, your weapon energy carries over from level to level. So the more I have now, the easier the next level will be. And again, I don't have all my health, but enemies are very generous with health drops in this. And we've got the remote control bolo now. This is a homing projectile. I'm not going to use it. I don't really have a need for it. Jump over, attack this guy, and I'm going to attack this guy? Try to attack the guy. He's so fast. One thing I wanted to note is that you can intentionally respawn enemies and try to grind out on their pickups. But yeah, it's kind of a crapshoot. Attack him. Attack this guy. Again, ice physics. Once you start moving, you have to jump in that direction. You can't turn around mid-ice. And this is one of those parts of the game where it pretty much forces you to be jumping off platforms halfway through. So we can actually hang on to those. All these have conveyor belts now. And there is going to be an extra life opportunity right here. Right there. So we have 6 lives. So move on the ice, jump halfway off. Conveyor belt, jump. I messed that up. So now I have to actually come all the way back here. And this is a little frustrating. You have to jump halfway out this platform. Otherwise you will touch the green things. And you will take damage. Jump halfway off. And halfway off. And the timing for this is really tough. It's not as easy as it is in, say, Castlevania or Mega Man or something like that. Alright, just fling yourself up like so. And we're going to go ahead and just see if we can jump over this guy. Ah, that was bad. Alright, come on up, hit that, and let's just do a little baby jump right here. Now, funny thing is, when you're hanging on these platforms here, you actually move really fast. So just drop down and attack that guy. It's going to be some spike balls. They go in sort of square-like patterns. Come on up here. Move down like that. This one I'm just going to wait for. It goes in a square pattern. It gets smaller and smaller, and then it just flies off the screen. Just like so. Alright. Jump up. And so we're going to wait for this one to be at its lowest level, just like that. Same with this guy right here. All right, little baby jump. And I didn't see that one coming. That was my fault. Completely my fault. All right, hang on to this. Same thing. Now this one you can actually just hang up here and just wait. Now, the hit detection is not amazing, so you really want to make sure it's like well off of you before you even start trying to jump. Now, I took a bunch of hits there, but I still have half of my health bar, and more enemies are going to drop health upgrades or health replenishment in the next section, and I got a couple of hit points back, too. So this is actually the last real, like, platforming section of the game. Then we fight 2 bosses, and then we've beaten the game. We're already at the end of the game, basically. Not a horribly long game. Let's go ahead and attack this guy. He drops weapon energy. It's really tough to get. You've got to time your jump just right. Otherwise, you know, you're not going to get it. And you have to jump off this sort of conveyor twisty thing about halfway off, just like these other ones. Lots of very tight platforming here. And we switch over to our 3-way. And we've got maximum weapon energy right now. Now again, you can actually kick when you're on those platforms, and I actually managed to use my hair like right as I grabbed it. I'm gonna wait for these guys to shoot projectiles. You know, let's demonstrate the bolo. So just use it. There we go. That was worth it. Normally I don't use it here because I usually have less weapon energy, but I managed to pick up the weapon energy from that first like airborne turret that I don't normally get that. It's really tough to get it. So again, your conveyor belts will constantly push you in the direction that you're moving once you jump. See? Alright, come on up and hit this guy. Ooh, that was, I wasn't paying attention to that conveyor belt. It was moving to the right, and I was holding right, and I just slammed into that guy, because for some reason I thought it was going the other way. So this conveyor belt's going to the right, so you jump on it, expect it to send you to the right. You've really got to be aware of your environments in this game. Extremely aware. We have 3 conveyor belts right here. Which way are they moving? They're moving right, which means it's going to be harder to make that jump. So halfway off, and then there we go. We got it. Now, one of the nice things about this game is there are 0 endless pits in the game, unlike, you know, Ninja Gaiden. So, you know, if you make a mistake here, you just get sent back a little bit. You just have to retrace your steps. You'll probably end up taking some damage along the way, but that's it. So the game is definitely, you know, it's not too mean because of things like no endless pits. You know, you can make a mistake and you can just try again, generally speaking. So ice, again, it sends you one way. You can't turn around mid-ice. Right here, I like to just kind of sit down below. You can turn yourself around to where you can still jump up. Alright, conveyor belt's going to the right, so I need to walk left. Just like that. You can do the same thing with this mouth thing, too. Let's see if it goes in the other direction. And if I really wanted to, I could use my bolo. But I'd rather not. I'd rather save my weapon energy for the upcoming boss fight. Now I'm going to show you a couple of strategies on this boss fight. If you want to conserve weapon energy, you just want to get up and punch him. But if you want to use some weapon energy, you can use your dynamite. You can also use your bolo, but I prefer the dynamite because it does good damage. And it doesn't use that much weapon energy for how much damage it does. So yeah, we're at the last 2 bosses now. There is no final stage past this. This is the last level. So we just fight this boss, and then we fight another one, which is the actual final boss. So you got these green turrets here. A little difficult to avoid sometimes, but you can get up, wait for this thing to open, punch it, and then walk off. Now that wave attack, it'll oftentimes do 2 of them, so you have to be careful about when you jump back up. So punch it, it'll make a sound cue just like that, and you know you've actually collided with it. Boom. And you can also use your dynamite if you want. Kind of like this. Get up here, and then toss it just like that. That was 2 hit points. That was good. Now you've got to be fairly precise with your dynamite attack, otherwise you'll miss. It is entirely possible to fling it over and not hit it appropriately. All right, get out. We're gonna go ahead and just tank. You can tank hits if you want, just absorb hits, you know, and just trade hits with the boss. You can get up and just punch it multiple times, and lose some health. When I play games like these, I like to try to do them with taking, you know, as minimal damage as possible, including bosses like this. But there are multiple ways to tackle these bosses. You don't have to just get up and punch and then jump down and just rinse and repeat 25 times because it takes forever. You know, there's different strategies. You can tank, you can get up and maybe do the dynamite strategy like I did. You can use your bolo from the ground, assuming it is open. You have to get up top for the turret to open up though, or the weak spot to open up. So yeah, this is the final boss. It's kind of a pathetic final boss. It's two phases. The first phase is this head and mouth that just spits out these three-way projectiles. Just get underneath it, you'll avoid it 100% of the time. So what I do is I just use my hair in this first form. The second form, it's much more difficult to use your hair. And so what I do is I save my weapon energy, and then if I need more weapon energy, I convert health into weapon energy. So I'll usually get a maximum of 3 hits. Sometimes I get 0 hits because he's just too high up on the screen. You can try to get on those platforms and kick him or something like that, but it's too difficult to work with. It's just easier to stay on the bottom, wait for the head to come down low enough to where you can hit it. And again, try to, you know, if it's lower, try to attack as you're falling, and you're more likely to, you know, to hit it. All right, so in this forum, basically an eyeball opens up, and you can only damage this guy when the eyeball is out. And when the eyeball's out, it also shoots projectiles your way. It's a 3-way shot. So the 3-way shot's gonna sort of target me. And I like to just sit in the back. And you have to wait for it to open. That's when I throw my dynamite. You can sort of predict it. Like a lot of the turrets in this game, it's just sort of on a timer. There's not really any variation to the timer. So it's not like this is a super complex fight. At first, I died to this guy a lot, and then I realized what he was doing, and then I learned about the weapon energy swap, and I didn't even have to do the weapon energy swap. I just ended up using the dynamite, and the big thing was that I didn't use so much dynamite in the previous boss, is that I had almost a full weapon energy bar when I came into this fight, which made things a lot easier on me. So, if you try to do that fight, though, with no weapon energy, is very difficult because you have to get right in front of the eyeball. But when it's open and it's vulnerable, it's shooting a 3-way spread shot. So it's like you're gonna end up trading hits, unfortunately. So, you know, learning how to conserve your chip energy in this game, your weapon energy, and then you know, trying to fight that guy you know, from long range, that's definitely the way to go. So. But yeah, so I didn't really talk about the story. There is an interesting concept story-wise. It's basically, you know, basically a human can get injected into the digital realm or like a computer or something like that. And when that happens, they take on the form of whatever. And this guy, your main character, he has, you know, his family background specialized in kabuki theater. And so when he got, you know, zapped into this system, he took the form of a kabuki. And so, kind of interesting. The story itself is, it's not executed particularly well. It's not like Ninja Gaiden, where it's just like, you know, you go back and you play out the story sequences, and like it just feels like it's tight and it's paced well and things like that. This is just, it's just boring. Really cool concept, but the poor execution, thus it's just not really entertaining to watch. But that is Kabuki Quantum Fighter for the NES. Again, it's like a hybrid of Batman the video game and Ninja Gaiden. So if you guys have not played this game, and you like those games, you might want to give this a try. There are definitely some quirks that aren't going to feel quite right when you first play it. Some of the acrobatics can feel a little weird. You might find yourself being flung up accidentally and things like that, and just slamming into things you don't mean to. Whereas Batman's, say, wall jumping feels much more consistent and precise. You feel like you're in better control of it. But there are still some really cool things about this game. I do recommend trying it out if you're a fan of things like Batman and Ninja Gaiden, Vice Project Doom, you know, stuff like that. It is a cool game in that regard. Glad I finally went through and learned it. I'm glad I finally knocked out a Let's Play. I know I've had a lot of people ask me about this one over the years. They've either asked me to do the Let's Play treatment or asked me if I played it. Well, now I have on both accounts. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this playthrough. If you're new to my channel, consider subscribing. I've got a lot of playthroughs like this and many more to come. For everybody already subbed, thank you for your continued support. If you played this game before, post a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are on it. Let me know what your experiences are with it. And, you know, if you're just trying to learn the game for the first time, let me know how that's going as well. And let me know if this video, you know, has helped you out if you're in that latter camp. Yeah, if you even made it to this point in the video, drop a comment anyway. I like to know when people have made it this far and they've actually watched the whole thing. And yeah, one last thing though before I go is after the ending screen here, you actually unlock a sound test menu. And it says, "I'll be back. Watch for my next adventure." I don't think that ever happens. So, but that was Kabuki Quantum Fighter, guys. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully I'll see you soon. And until the next one, take it easy.